What's up, guys? For today's watch review, we're taking a look at the G-Shock GWF-D1000 Frogman. Now this one, I'm not sure if it's like a special edition, but it's not the original. This one is in the black and blue color scheme. So it's the D1000B-1. This is a fairly new addition to my collection, and I'm super excited about it because it's an outstanding watch. So let's get right into it. And before we get into the review, I wanted to address what's going on here with my Frogman. As you can see, it's not the standard Frogman. So what I've got going on here is this bracelet from J's and K's, and I've also got these lug adapters, also from J's and K's, and then this really cool Link flashlight. So if you see the power button, turn that on, and you get a really cool little flashlight right there. Obviously this thing's not going to light up an entire room, but it's just enough to illuminate a door handle, or if you're riding a motorcycle, you'll be able to see that ignition keyhole. So it's very handy for those types of situations. So real cool. And of course I'll have a link to all of these products in the description below. No, I'm not sponsored by them. I just really like doing these quick little easy modifications to my personal watches, and I'm sure some of you out there will be very interested to do the same. You can find this exact model of the Frogman for $1,050. That is the MSRP price, but for some reason MSRP also matches street retail price. I don't know why, but that's just how it is. Now, if you're able to find a better deal or a cheaper price, good on you. I highly recommend doing some research and searching other sellers and just negotiating to get a lower price. Starting off with the case diameter, and we're looking at the outer edge of 9 o'clock to the outer edge of 3 o'clock. That is 52.3 millimeters. And then a case thickness or height of 17.8 millimeters. And then a lug to lug of 58.9 millimeters. And a lug width of 24 millimeters. And in this case, I'm measuring the lug width of the lug adapters. And then for weight, so the weight off of the website is 141 grams. However, I never did that weight. I did the weight with the bracelet and lug adapters and flashlight. So that comes out to 214 grams or 7.5 ounces. And here's how it sits on my 7.5-inch wrist. Very beefy, but I absolutely love how it looks. Alright guys, there's a lot going on here with this watch, so I'm going to do my best to cover as much as I can. Starting off, this watch comes with the module number 3445. So what that means is you're getting a watch that is solar. It's also got atomic timekeeping, so it's always going to be right on the money with time. And we've also got a metal case here. So the outer exterior is going to be resin, but underneath it all, it's all metal. So what you're getting is this beautifully dense watch, and you can't really tell until you get it in your hand. Moving on inwards, looking at that crystal, we've got a sapphire crystal, which is outstanding. And then on the other side, we've got a screw down Caseback, and the special thing here is that it is a DLC screw down Caseback. And DLC stands for diamond-like carbon. And we'll go over that later on in the review. And then all of these exterior components provide a water resistance of 200 meters, which is standard for your typical Frogman. Now going over the main display in normal timekeeping mode, starting off at the very top, you're going to see that graphic dial. Now in normal operations, that dial or animation is going to move every second. And you can see it right now, it's ticking away happily in 1 second intervals. Now when you are measuring time, so in stopwatch mode, timer mode, or diving mode, it's going to move in 1 minute intervals instead. Right next to the dial, we've got the day of the week indication. However, you can also change that to your tide graph. Now, if you were on a dive and you were using the dive mode, you'll also see surface time displayed in that screen. Surface time starts automatically after you complete a dive, and it'll continue to measure time until 48 hours after dive completion. To my knowledge, there's no way to clear out of the surface time. I think that's just a safety feature. And so, you don't have to look at it, but just know that it'll be ticking away for 48 hours after you've completed a dive. Going down to the next level, on the left, you've got the charge level, and it'll show you low, medium, or high. Right next to that is your moon phase. So as you can see right now, it's telling me that we're pretty much at a full moon. And then right next to that is your calendar data. And then underneath that is the main time. We've got 5 pushers or buttons here labeled A, B, C, D, and L. Pressing button A will change your day of the week to either your tide graph or your surface timer, and then holding it will put you into adjust mode, so you can change the time or whatever. Holding button B will allow you to record anything into the recall mode. Pressing button C once will change which mode you're in, and then holding button C will put you into dive mode. Pressing button D will put you into compass mode. And then pressing button L will turn on the backlight, and then holding L will turn on auto light. So if you shift the position of your wrist, the light will automatically come on. Going over the different modes, after timekeeping mode, we will go straight into diving log. And this is where your dives will get logged. So after you complete a dive and you turn off diving mode, all that information is automatically going to be stored here. The next mode after diving log is your recall mode. This is probably, in my opinion, one of the coolest features of the D1000 Frogman. It's very reminiscent to the 9400 Rangeman recall mode, and that was one of my favorite things. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. But here, as long as you hold button B, you can pretty much recall anything. Specifically your water depth, your compass bearing, temperature, and time. However, no matter what you record, it's always going to record the time. So just a very cool, useful, and practical feature. Next mode is stopwatch. Your stopwatch is going to record up to 100 hours, or really 99 hours, 59 minutes, and 0.99 milliseconds. So basically 100 hours. You've also got split time, and it's got the ability to time 2 separate finishes. I have personally never used that feature, but know that it is there. After that, we go straight to the timer. And the timer is exactly that, and it can measure or count down up to 24 hours. And then in alarm mode, we've got 5 different alarms, or 4 alarms and 1 snooze, and then an hourly chime. And then for world time mode, self-explanatory, different time zones. The cool thing is that you can individually set daylight savings time in any zone. And then this is your thermometer mode, and this is how you'll be able to tell the temperature. You can adjust it between Fahrenheit and Celsius. And here we've got your tide graph and also your moon phase. So to get to moon phase, you would just hit button A and change that to get your moon data. And then after that, we go to the receive mode, and this is just telling you the status of your atomic timekeeping. So for me, it's telling me that it has been received on July 23rd at midnight and 3 minutes. So there are a whole lot of modes here, and it's pretty standard for G-Shocks, but if you are in the middle of whatever mode and you want to go straight back to main timekeeping, just hold the mode button and it will shortcut straight back to main time. Looking at the backlight, we've got a beautiful white soft backlight. I will say I prefer the electroluminescent green backlight on the previous model. However, this does just fine. You can adjust it to last for either 1 second or 3 seconds. Looking at that dial and display, so I think the dial is as sharp as positive displays come. It's clear at any angle and any time of day. The slight blue accents also give the display an almost HD look to it, which just adds to the overall joy that you get looking at this fantastic watch. With around 4 millimeters of clearance from the bezel to the crystal, you can rest assured that your tank of a watch is that much more protected. The sapphire crystal also gives me the added comfort of knowing that I don't have to worry about those unpredictable bumps in the night that cause the gut-wrenching, soul-crushing experience of the first scratch on any watch. For the pushers, first and foremost, the quality and ease of use is top-notch. The large, pronounced buttons can be accessed easily whether you're on the surface, submerged, wearing gloves, or any combination of the three. The fact that they are all metal also adds to the desirability because metal will always beat plastic. You will never convince me that a plastic watch can give me a better experience than a metal one. With that being said, I will say that I prefer the aesthetic of the older 1000 Frogman with the Nintendo-esque pushers surrounding the red depth label. On the presentation side of the strap, you would assume that this OEM strap is just like any other resin band from G-Shock, but you would be pleasantly mistaken. Clearly labeled on the top, you can see carbon fiber, and on the other side, at just the right angle, you can see that absolutely beautiful blue texturing from the fibers. This strap is easily one of the highest quality non-bracelet straps I've ever come across. Yeah, it's gonna degrade over extended periods of use, but I can assure you, if properly cared for, the carbon fiber will far outlast the watch's technological relevance as well as your interest in the watch. One thing that I think would really put this strap over the edge is if in these holes they added metal rivets, like black metal rivets, and I think that would look absolutely killer. We've got the same style caseback as its older brother, and that's perfectly fine. Don't fix something that's not broken. G-Shock knocked it out of the park with the previous model, and there's no need to change anything here. I've said it before and I'll say it again, if you've never experienced a G-Shock screw down caseback, you're missing out. It just adds an X-factor quality that you can't quantify on paper. The DLC coating also adds another layer of comfort, as I know I can very easily keep this beautiful beast safe from those tiny scratches that come straight from hell. If you're not familiar with DLC coatings, it stands for diamond-like carbon, and it is one of the best commercially available protective coatings you can find. I personally can attest to its durability, as I tried to strip the DLC coating off of one of my cold steel Recon 1 knives. I let it soak in all types of chemical removers, I used all types of scrapers and sanders, and I even got to the point of taking the point of another knife trying to scrape the coating off. The result was hardly any scratches, and while I was extremely frustrated, I was also very impressed. So long story short, Casio done good with the DLC coating. At this point, it'll be pretty hard to convince you that this is an unbiased review, but I cannot help but be completely starstruck with this watch. If you don't get why, it's simply because my recording equipment is not able to portray well enough the density, heft, tight tolerances, and quality that make this watch everything that it is. And while I feel like I covered a lot in this review, if you ever got around to reading the user manual, you will find that there is still much more to learn. As a watch, the D1000 Frogman can almost hold its own against a dive computer. I say almost because a diver should always resort to their primary computer before a watch. But with that being said, this watch has the functions and feature sets to keep you alive if your computer were to experience an unplanned outage. But I do try to always come up with a negative, and for the sake of attempting to be a balanced review, here are some things the watch can improve on. Number 1. To this day, I still don't understand why Casio can't program their watches to stay illuminated when pressing buttons. It's almost idiotic that the light goes out when scrolling through different menus and when using different functions. How the hell are you supposed to use this watch in the dark? It's almost pointless trying to do anything but tell the time in the dark with this thing, which is frustrating because it seems like a very easy fix. Number 2, why the hell is this thing more expensive than a GPRB 1000 Rangeman? Is it because it's the iconic Frogman? Is it like a name brand thing? I mean, if you know, please explain it to me, but I legitimately think this watch is at least around $300 too expensive. With that being said though, I would gladly spend the money again because that's how much I am blindly in love with this thing. Now, I'm sure if I really racked my peasant brain, I could find some more nitpicky things, but I'm gonna end it there. In my mind, the Frogman can do no wrong, unless you're talking about the analog Frogman, but I won't go there. And I cannot recommend the D1000 enough. I'm not sure if this is a rare watch, but I'm pretty sure it's quickly getting discontinued from G-Shock. At least on their website, every other model is out of stock and the original D1000 isn't even available anymore. So if that's the unfortunate truth, then I say get one before it's too late. I'm not trying to create like a sense of rushing or fear of missing out, but I do know that watches like this eventually do get discontinued, and I know for me personally, I've always regretted missing out on some of the older classic models, and so I don't want that to happen to you. So anyways, that's all I gotta say for now. I hope you enjoyed this review and that I was able to help you with your next watch purchase. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.